King David was supposed to be at war on his God-given assignment, but he decided to stay home. And as a result of him staying home, he made one of the most disgraceful decisions that you could ever make. While he was at home that night, he went out to his rooftop, and from his rooftop, he began to see this beautiful woman by the name of Bathsheba bathing, and he was immediately drawn to her. His lust was fixated on her, so much so that he sent his servant down to find out about this woman. His servant comes back and says, hey, you know what? That woman is married. She's married to a man, Uriah, inside of your military. David does not care, though. David is so infatuated, he says, you know what? Bring her up. And after Bathsheba arrives at David's palace, he begins to sleep with her. And I'm sure David thought this was going to be nothing more than a one-night stand. But sometime later, Bathsheba goes to David and says, hey, look, I missed my period. I am pregnant. So David does what a lot of people have probably tried to do. He tries to cover his sin up. He calls Uriah back home from war in hopes that Uriah would go home and sleep with his wife Bathsheba. Uriah, being so honorable, says, look, how could I go home to my wife when all of Israel is at war? So Uriah does not go home. So David's plan to get Uriah home is not working. So David says, look, I'm going to bring out all the alcohol and I'm going to get Uriah plastered. He gets Uriah drunk, but Uriah still won't go home to his wife and sleep with her. David's plan to cover his sin is crumbling. So David pins down a letter. And in this letter, it says that when the battle is fierce, put Uriah in the front and then retreat so that he dies. The worst part about this is that David seals this letter, gives it to Uriah, and Uriah brings it back to the commander of the army. Uriah literally carried his own death letter. And just as David wrote it, so it happened, and Uriah was killed. After Uriah is now out of the picture, they mourn him, and then David sweeps in and marries Bathsheba. David now thinking, oh, look, man, I did a horrible thing, but I got away with it. Nope. God sends the prophet Nathan to David and confronts him of his sin. David then admits it and he repents before the Lord. Because he repented, God spared David's life because David was going to be killed by God because of the wicked decision that he did. But what God does instead is he takes the life of King David and Bathsheba's son. What makes the matters even worse is that it took David months before he ever even repented. And he only repented because Nathan confronted him. This just goes to show us how far sin can take you. And because of this sin, David lost his son, his reputation is stained, and this affected his household in the many years to come.